Math. When you need help, you use Minute Math.
I'm Sean Gannett, and this is Minute Math. And today we're going to learn about differentiation with inverse trigonometric functions. And we'll differentiate each function with respect to x. So, if I was given this function, y equals a cosine or arc cosine of a negative 5 x to the third power. Okay. So I'm given y equals the arc cosine of negative 5x to the third power. We need to derive that. Well, I know our definition of arc cosine, derivative of that would be negative 1 over square root of 1 minus z squared, okay, where the variable is. So when we take the derivative, dy dx here, okay, we're going to have really plug in, instead of z, what's inside that parenthesis. Negative 1 over, okay, the square root of 1 minus z, c, right? 1 minus whatever's in our parenthesis there, okay? Minus in our parenthesis, and negative 5x to the third, okay? So we have that, and we have to square it, right? Square what's in our parenthesis, so we fill that blank down in, and then multiply that, because now we're going to apply the chain rule, the derivative of the inside of that parenthesis there. The derivative of the inside is a, well, 3 comes down, power will be negative 15 x squared. So if I was to rewrite this as one final thing all put together, okay, the negative 15 and the negative outside out front will cancel, and the 15x squared just go up top. So we have 15x squared up top, all over the square root of 1 minus. Okay, so now we're going to, let's go square this, because we're going to square, come down. Negative 5 squared is a positive 25, so we have a positive 25 here. Okay, and we apply the squared to the x to the third power, and we multiply the exponents there in this case, and so it's x to the 6th power. And there we have it. We have our simplest form, our simplified form. Our derivative here is 15x squared over the square root of 1 minus 25x to the 6th power. Y equals the arc sine of negative 2x squared. Okay, so y equals the arc sine of negative 2x squared. Well, take that derivative, so we have dy dx. We're going to look at our definition, right, of to derive an arc sine here, and it's equal to 1 over the square root of 1 minus, and whatever we're taking it off on the inside. This was z, but here we have a negative 2x squared. We have a negative 2x squared. Squared right there. And that's all going to be squared, wherever that z value, in this case, it's what's in the parentheses, all squared. Now we apply the chain rule, so we're going to multiply by the derivative of what's inside the parentheses. Well, power rule comes down, 2 times the negative 2 is a negative 4, so we have a negative 4x right there, okay? So let's just clean this up a little bit. We're pretty much there, okay? Well, the negative 4 can come up top, negative 4x in the numerator, so negative 4x up top over our denominator. Well, we have 1 minus, right? And we square the negative 2x squared. 2 or negative 2 squared is a positive 4, so we have 4 here. And then x squared is x to the 4th power. And there we have it. Our final answer being negative 4x over the square root of 1 minus 4x to the 4th power. Y equals the arctangent of 2x to the 4th power. Okay, well, I know my definition of the derivative of arctangent is 1 over 1 plus z squared. So instead of z, I'm going to be putting what's in my parenthesis there. So we're going to take the derivative, dy dx here. Now we're taking that derivative, and we just follow a formula. 1 over 1 plus, and z is what is inside of this parenthesis. Okay, we have 2x to the 4th power, and we need to square all of that. Now, we still need to apply the chain rule, right? The derivative of what's inside the parentheses. This power rule should be easy. 4 times 2 is 8. We have 8x here. 4 gets subtracted by 1 to the 3rd power. So dy dx equals 1 over 1 plus this 2x to the fourth all squared times 8x to the third. So let's just simplify this a little bit here. We have 8x to the third up top, 8x to the third kind of goes across, multiplied by 1, doesn't really matter. But the denominator, that's a big fraction there. 1 plus, let's go square that. 2 squared is a 4, so we have 4x, and we multiply 2 times 4 to get 8. And so our final answer here is just 8x to the third over 1 plus 4x to the 8th power. Y equals the arc cosecant of 4x squared. Well, what I'm going to do is apply my rule for the derivative of arc cosecant. So we have dy dx here is equal to, let's take that to the derivative using that rule, negative 1 over, okay, you can put the negative to the 1, that's fine, the absolute value of z, and in this case z is what's in my parenthesis, so the absolute value of 4x squared times the square root of our parenthesis 4x squared, all squared, right, minus 1. Now, we still apply the chain rule and take the derivative of the inside, right? 4x squared, 4x squared, the derivative of that, power rule, 2 comes down, multiplied by 4, and we have 8x right there. So when we simplify this, it's pretty easy. The negative will pretty much stay there, but we look at the 4x squared, and taking the absolute value of 4x squared, well, any number we plug in for x, we're squaring it, so it's going to be a positive number. So the absolute value is unnecessary now at this point here, in part of our simplification process here. And then we can cancel that out with the 8x, right? 8 and 4 give me a 2 up top, and the x cancels down to this 1x here, leaving me 1x in the denominator. So I have a negative 2 up top over just 1x in the denominator. Now we're taking the square root. All right, let's simplify this. 4x squared, all squared. We square the 4 to get a 16. So we have 16 right here. And then x squared squared is x to the 4th power. And we have the minus 1. And make sure the bar, the squares goes over the whole thing. But now we're done. So our final answer is negative 2 over x times the square root of 16x to the 4th minus 1. Y equals parentheses arc sine of 5x squared, all of that to the 3rd power. Okay, so when I take the derivative of this, we're going to be basically using the chain rule with our trig rules, things like that. Okay, so we have dy dx here, and we notice the most outer shell here is that 3rd power. So we're going to apply the power rule here. 3 times keeps the inside the same. Arc sine of 5x squared to the 2nd power. Okay, so we subtract the exponent by 1 and multiply that by the derivative of the inside. Now the derivative of the inside, now ignore the outside part, I have an arc sine. So I have to use my rule here. I have 1 over the square root of 1 minus, and what's in this little parenthesis, squared. I have 5x squared, and I'll be squaring all of that. Lastly, in our chain of chain rules here, we multiply that by the derivative of this inside little parenthesis. 5x squared power rule is a 10x. So we have this 3-part basically here for this derivative. Let's see if we can condense it a little bit to one big fraction. Okay. Well, the 10x and the 3 can be multiplied together to have a 30x out front. We're just going to leave this parenthesis here. We have the arc sine of 5x squared all to the 2nd power. Now the denominator, I'm going to bring that down to the square root of 1 minus, but we can square this 5x squared. 5 squared is 25. And x squared all squared is x to the 4th power. And there we have it. Our final answer here is 30x times the parenthesis of sine, arc sine of 5x squared, all that's going to be squared, over the square root of 1 minus 25x to the 4th power. Y equals the arc sine of 3x to the fifth plus 1 to the third power. Now, it's all of that. We're taking the arc side up. Okay, so we'll see if we're that next step we take the derivative. Okay, so by taking the derivative, dy dx here. All right, our first rule is that we're going to take the arc sine of all of this. So remember, we're taking the arc sine of everything here, including that third power. Okay, so we have 1 over the square root of 1 minus all of this, right? 3x to the fifth plus 1 to the third power. All of that is going to be squared. Okay? Kind of extending those bars there. Now we have to take the derivative of the inside of that arc sine. Well, that's just going to be power rule, so we can imagine the arc sine is gone. 3 comes down. Keep that inside part the same. 3x to the fifth power plus 1 squared times the derivative of the inside part. Okay? So we have power rule there. 5 times 3 is 15. So we have 15x to the fourth power there. And there's nothing with the 1 because root of 1 is 0. Okay? So now we've taken the derivative. Let's just do some simplification. Nothing too fancy here. Okay? 3 and 15 multiplying across the numerator, right, will be 45. So we have 45 there. Times x to the fourth. Let's bring that out front. X to the fourth. Times, let's bring these parentheses over here. 3x to the fifth plus 1 squared. All over my denominator, which we can simplify a little bit here. 1 minus, well, let's distribute this just the square to the third power right there. That's to the sixth power. So we have 3x to the fifth plus 1 all to the sixth power now. That's good enough for me where I am now. And so now here we have our final answer, 45x to the fourth times 3x to the fifth plus 1 squared over the square root of 1 minus the square root of 1 minus parentheses 3x to the fifth plus 1 to the sixth power. Y equals parentheses the cosine, or the arc cosine, of 4x squared. And all of that is going to be squared. So we're going to apply our chain rule, power rule, and trig rules here. So we have the derivative dy dx here, right, equals, first thing is the power rule, right? The 2 is going to come out front, times to keep the inside the same, the arc cosine of negative 1, times 4x squared. Okay? And then the exponent gets subtracted by 1. Don't need to worry about that. Then now we multiply the derivative of the inside. Arc cosine, and use our special rules here, we've been negative 1 over, right, for the negative out front, but up there is fine, over the square root of 1 minus whatever's in our inside parentheses squared. 4x squared. Now we multiply that all by the derivative of the inside part. 4x squared is, derivative of that is the 8x. Okay? So, let's simplify this out a little bit here. Okay? 8x, negative 1 to 2, up top, the numerator. All right, 8 times 2 is 16, so we have the negative out front, so we have negative 16x up there, times, let's keep that arc cosine, times the arc cosine of 4x squared. Okay. All over our denominator, which we can simplify a little bit. We have the square root of 1 minus, well, square of 4 is, squared is 16 here. X to the x squared is to the fourth power. And there we have it. Our final answer here is a negative 16x times the arc cosine of 4x squared, all over 1 minus 16x to the fourth power. Y equals the arc cosine of negative 2x to the third minus 3 to the third power. Okay, now we're taking the arc cosine of all of this. So let's find the derivative dy dx here. First thing, we're using our trig rule. Okay, so we've been negative 1 over, okay, the square root of 1 minus all of this squared. Negative 2x to the third minus 3 to the third power. Again, all of that squared. Okay. Now we have to take the derivative of this inside. Now, that's going to be the chain rule, but with that, we're going to power rule. 3 comes out up front. Keep the inside the same. Negative 2x to the third minus 3. Subtract the exponent by 1. Second power. Again, multiply that by the derivative of the inside part. Okay? Derivative of the inside part. 3 times a negative 2 is a negative 6. So we have a negative 6 here. X squared. Right? So subtract the exponent by 1. We have 2. And derivative of negative 3 is 0. Minus 3, right? So we don't need it. Right? So now let's go simplify this a little bit, and then we'll be done. So, negative 6 times 3, okay, times that negative 1 is a positive, right? Double negative, positive 18. We have x squared times, well, just bring that over there. Negative 2x to the third minus 3 all squared. All over my denominator, which we're just going to simplify a little bit here. 1 minus, I'm just going to take this, all that part to the third power squared. Let's put it all to the 6th power, right? 2 times 3 is we had 6. That's our rule there. So we have negative 2x to the third minus 3 all to the 6th power. And there we have our final answer, 18x squared times negative 2x to the third minus 3 on that part squared over the square root of 1 minus parentheses negative 2x to the third minus 3 to the 6th power.
Minute Math, when you need help you use Minute Math. Minute Math, when you need help you use Minute Math. MinuteMathTutor.com